At times there is panic that is going on, and Arne Slot just said there about the counter-attacking towards the last 20 minutes. They were counter-attacking a lot. That a lot of times that they had the opportunity to go and score and get the second goal. Liverpool here, especially at Anfield, come across teams that come and play it and sit in a low block. So they must work on that and know, right, teams are going to come and sit in a low block. We're going to play counter-attacking football. The final pass has got to be a good one. There was far too many out there that the final pass was awful. It was pathetic. It was terrible. And you can't keep doing that. When you get them big opportunities where, Spurs were pushing forward to try and get a goal, there were spaces all over the pitch, Ekitike, Mo Salah, there were so many of them that kept on giving it away that, you was thinking, Tottenham are going to score. And we were in the studio going, Tottenham are going to score here. And I think Tottenham felt that, and, it's one of the things that Arne Slot's got a style of play here, and, they said the fans were booing towards the end. Fans want to see front foot football. They want to see Liverpool blowing teams away. And, when you've got the Tottenham team that come here that are fragile, they should have been able to do that. They should have definitely blown them away today, gone and got the second goal. If they had got it in the first half or come out in the second half and got that, it would have been a total different case, but they weren't able to do that. And like I say, the inconsistency that's going on is far too much this season. Conceding late goals, it's going to be a disappointment this season, and it needs to be fixed soon rather than later.
I mean, that front foot football was something that Liverpool played at 100 miles an hour under Jurgen Klopp, and it's something that these supporters were used to seeing. Is there an issue in terms of comparison? Because the idea was that Arne Slot was going to come in and slow things down is maybe the wrong expression to use, but steady things in order that Liverpool could manage seasons better, manage injuries better, manage the kind of load on the players better. Is there an issue with comparison?
Oh, well, it's great to have a plan, isn't it? The reality is different when you go out and play football matches. And Ashley mentioned there about Spurs being fragile. I think Liverpool look fragile. I think they're fragile. They have different challenges trying to get in the Champions League. And listen, they still might have a good season regarding the cup competitions. But when they were 1-0 up today, and when the game became open, if you're the Liverpool manager, you see the game getting open, you go, that suits us as well. Don't worry, we can get at these. And they did have opportunities. And the games I'm watching, they're getting to positions. And he's obviously an experienced manager. And his points were there, even the opportunities they had to kind of finish Spurs off, and they're not taking it. So every team knows the longer the game goes on, as long as there's only a goal in it, they've got great encouragement. Like for a team like Spurs, who are fragile and who were on a bad run, their belief was growing in the game, going, I think we have a chance here. And obviously they produced at the end, even as from a long ball. And we're talking about players getting in position and players in the wrong positions. But to me, that's just common sense and experienced players to say, we'll shut up shop, we'll take the 1-0 win. But they're conceding so many goals. And considering they were league champions last year, and I've said it before and I've said it a number of times, Liverpool are bad champions. They've been bad champions. They were bad champions a few years ago. They're now 21 points behind Arsenal. Like, what a drop-off that is. That is so bad. So I think there's issues going on in the background. I think there's bigger issues. There's details there you can fix. Obviously, you're talking about players tucking in, but I think there's stuff going on there. I don't know if they're all on the same page. There doesn't seem that chemistry with the players. You're on about when you win big titles sometimes. The big challenge is the following year. Can you back it up? And I think these players...
Is that not just something that Manchester City... I mean, it's difficult to go and retain a title, but Manchester City...
It's very hard to retain it. Yeah, you can obviously have a drop-off, but City have dropped off recently in terms of their high standards, but they're still competing second or third. They're not 20, 30 points behind the team who's winning the league. That's a drop-off. But for Liverpool to be so far off it, that's like last year they conceded, they lost 4 games. They've lost 9 already this year. You're going, that is... I find it hard to get my head around that.
After they'd won the league.
Yeah, of course, but they're just slacking off a little bit. And they
Yeah.
switched off, of course. And it's almost that mentality. Last year, I was critical of Liverpool towards last year, or even towards the end when they were like, I felt they were almost partying too much. And they were partying with 4, 5, 6 weeks to go, and the fans, and there was celebration after every home game. You're going, you're a Liverpool Football Club, I know it's... But
you can't stop fans from
but let me finish.
celebrating.
You're not expected to win league titles. So when you do win a league title, you go, don't worry, they're planning it for us in our dressing room. We go, yeah, enjoy it, don't get me wrong. But let's back it up next year. That's why you're playing for the big club. So when I see these teams win a trophy and then disappear for 10 or 15 years, I'm like... And I'll be thinking the same at Arsenal. When Arsenal win the league this year, you don't want Arsenal to disappear for the next 3, 4, 5 years. You go, you've got to back it up. Or don't be 20, 30 points behind the top team next year. You've got to compete. That's your challenge. And when you're giving up goals like that, or whether it was Wolves recently, or even the goal against the game against Man City, I look at this group of players and their mentality and their work rate and their desire, what they do on training pitch, and I don't like what I see with this Liverpool group. I just don't like it. It's just as if they're on about, we're giving up late goals. Yeah, that's down to yourselves. That's your desire when the ball comes in the box. Was it done Bournemouth not long ago? When the ball comes in the box, go and head the ball.
Like last minute.
Last minute. These are little details. People go, oh, well, it wasn't their day, we got injuries. No, you've got stuff, enough quality on the pitch. You've got yourself in a good position, like you did last year, by the way, when you had that hunger to go and win league titles. And again, they won a lot of games where the manager was concerned last year because they only won so many games by the odd goal. But no, this fighting desire that I see in this group today, especially in the last 5 minutes, because these are big football games about moments, and Liverpool are getting so many moments wrong at the moment. Is that down to work rate, desire, a bit of fire in your belly? I think a lot of it is.
Is it down to the players or is it down to the manager? That's the perennial question for any team that's going through a bad phase.
Yeah, and I think there's obviously a lot of talk about the manager because there's an elephant in the room in terms of the manager waiting for a job, and that's Xabi Alonso. So people are starting to talk maybe he could be the man next year. Now, personally, I just don't think that's how Liverpool have worked over the years. Having spent 11 years here, they give managers time. And when a manager's won the league the year before, to then go and change it would just feel extremely harsh. Now, you can turn around and say, well, they spent an absolute fortune. Yeah, they spent a lot of money in the summer. Alexander Isak never got going. So there's £90 million or whatever he cost, or even more, I don't even know what he was. But he hasn't had the chance. Wirtz didn't fire at the start of the season. He started to try and find some form, which he looks a lot better. Ekitike is a real player. Today he didn't have his best moments. But so for that reason, I think he needs a bit more time again next season. You know, they haven't performed. I can't disagree with what Roy said there. But you've got to make sure you can do that next year. I don't think Salah will be here next year. You know, the drop-off from him has been extraordinary. I think he had 27, 28 goals this time last year. He's got 5 this season. So that tells you everything. You know, those goals that are winning games, they're not here this year. So where are you finding your goals? You've got other young players that are getting chances now, like Rio's come into the team. Now, he did OK. He did all right today. I want a bit more end product.
Okay. Well, what will define any young players is end product, of course, but he's just a kid. And he was a bonus today. When playing for the big clubs, you need players in wide positions who can go past somebody. That's what gets people excited. But what he'll have to learn is his end product. And we've been talking about Liverpool. The problem you have now, we'll come to watch Liverpool, you don't know what you're going to get. That's not a good sign. I think somebody asked Bill Shankly many years ago about watching players and mentioned a player going, well, you don't know what you're going to get. He goes, they're not good to me. I want to have an idea what I want to turn up and watch. Would that be the players or the shape or players, what they're going to produce? And today, again, we were looking and we were thinking, could Liverpool win a 2-3-0? We go, yeah. But the draw doesn't surprise us yet. Doesn't surprise us either, because you don't know where you're going to get. And I think that's a really bad trait to have as a team. You want a team to turn up every week. Yeah, you're not going to win every week. We're going, do you know what? You know what you're going to get. We're going to compete. We're going to be 7, 8 out of 10 every week. Yeah. This team,
you know, as well,
toss of a coin.
I felt as, you know, in midfield, I look at midfields and I think, well, they're playing. They had a 2 in there. With Sarr and Archie Gray. And you looked at Liverpool, they're Gravenberch, McAllister and Wirtz. Such a big opportunity to use that extra man. And the amount of times that they just didn't play quickly enough, the ball speed was too slow. Making sure you play with that extra man, they should have really expanded on that area and had so much more success, because Tottenham, I know they dropped Solanke in or Richarlison, but they outnumbered them, but they never maximised it and never really counted or made it work. But positives, yeah, I would give Rio as a positive today, and he's a young man. You know, there's expectations on young players. He comes in today. We saw what Max Dowman did yesterday. Everyone's probably getting excited, thinking he can do that. But I think he's earned his right. And if he's not maybe starting games, coming off the bench, but you know, end product, you want goals, assists, because especially at Liverpool, where they've had the likes of Mane, they've had the likes of Salah that have put up incredible numbers, and that's going to be the expectation when you're a Liverpool wide man now. So if he can add that, he's got a wonderful chance here.
And also, I just want to make the point, when you see players making mistakes for Liverpool, obviously it's the same with Spurs, I made the point, players are making sloppy mistakes. Nobody's held accountable. Nobody's having a go at each other. Everyone's like, you have to put demands on each other. Top players put demands on each other. And I think Liverpool players at this moment in time are letting each other off the hook. Even the last goal there. Why isn't somebody making demands on people? Just tuck in. Yeah. That's what top teammates do, that. They put demands on each other. The bad teammates let you off the hook with that. That's no good to you.